Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. This is Dr. Stacey Heimberger, and this is Weight Loss Made Simple. Today, I want to talk to you about asking better questions. Our brain is a problem solver, but if we are asking the wrong questions, you are going to keep finding the wrong answers. Now, I alluded to this in a couple of episodes back where I was talking about the 3 things that I learned that helped me lose 90 pounds. And I wanted to come back to this one and just expound upon it a bit. This idea of asking better questions is really, really important because our brain is a question answering machine. Okay, so the quality of our questions is 100% going to determine the quality of our answers. So when I ask, why can't I stick to anything, or why can't I lose weight, our brain is going to respond with mean things. And it's not going to find anything good. I always laugh because I really think of it as like this little nasty pants waiting for that question. It's like, I'm so glad you asked. I've been keeping a list for years of everything that's wrong with you and everything you've never stuck to, and just ready to read it off, right? Just like your little arch nemesis in there has been waiting to list all the reasons why you're bad and wrong. So knowing that that's what's going to happen, let's not ask those questions anymore. So in thinking about asking better questions, I really wanted to figure out what makes a high quality question. Because me just telling you ask better questions is not really that helpful. But me giving you examples of better questions and really trying to figure out what it is that makes a better question, I thought might be helpful. So first, I will go over what I think are some of the most unhelpful questions so that we know where we're starting from with our unhelpful, and then we'll move to helpful. So these would be like, how do I shame myself without realizing it questions? Why can't I just stop eating at night? Why am I so weak? What's wrong with me? Why can she do it, but I can't do it? Why do I always mess up on the weekends? Why can't I have more willpower? Why can't I be more motivated? Right? I'm not going to go any further because I think we all know where we're going here and can probably add to my list. These questions feel like I'm just getting to the heart of the matter, right? It's a little bit of that tough love. Like if I just knew the answer to that question, then I could get myself into gear. But they actually really close the door on that because all they do is create shame. And when we're in a shame spiral, no good ideas are coming out of that, okay? This idea that that's going to give me the magic answer is a little bit crazy when you talk it through, because being in a shame spiral does not spur motivating ideas, right? It's a dead end. So these bad questions, these closed questions, these shame spiral inducing questions are dead ends, not helpful. They are not tough loves, helping us, none of that. So I wanted to go through and find out, like, what is it about these questions? And I found they're really past focused, right? So that's problem number 1, is that they're past focused. So we are going to need to switch to future focused questions. They're also kind of identity focused, which having this idea of like, what's wrong with me, right? What's wrong with my identity? Not helpful. And so they're kind of like, if you know, fixed mindset, growth mindset, they're a little bit fixed mindset. They shut down curiosity, creativity, and forward movement. And if you've been listening to me, you know, that's like, we need that. We need to be curious. We need to be creative. We need to try new things. We need to move forward. So when we're asking these past focused, identity focused, sort of fixed mindset questions, we're shutting all of that down. So I really want you to think of those as like a dead end. Like a spiral down the staircase to a dead end. So if we want to move from past focused, then we would naturally want to do future focused questions. So future focused questions would be more of the questions I was asking of myself when I started to lose weight. What would this look like if it was simple? what would make this feel easy, right? So it's kind of looking forward. Like if I got to the end of the road, what does that look like? So what does done for the day look like for me? What does bare minimum look like for me? What would help me feel proud of myself tonight? What does future me need right now? Right? Future me needs me to food prep something, probably, right? But future focus, what would this look like if? What would make this feel easy? The other way you can think of this is this is for more of my analytical thinkers, right? Strategy building questions. So if I was going to build a strategy, so how can I make this 10% easier? Where do I need a system instead of willpower? What is one thing I can automate or prep ahead of time? What worked last time when I felt successful? It's a little bit of past, but we'll let that one go. When I felt successful, so it's still feeling, what did that look like? And what would I do if I wasn't trying to be perfect? Oh, it's like the beautiful question, right? Everything. You would do everything. You would be limitless. If I wasn't trying to be perfect, what would that look like? What would I do? What would I try? We can go with sort of emotional regulation questions. So this is, I try and do this more like when I know I'm not hungry, but my brain's giving me like that. I just want a little something, something. What am I trying to avoid right now? What feeling? What is the real need? What does my body really need? What does my brain really need under this craving? And what would help me feel safe and calm right now without food? Right? When we've been using food for so long to buffer our feelings, and then we have a negative feeling and we're trying not to give ourselves food, we're trying to change that, which we love, it can feel a little jarring, and it can feel like our body can get a little tingly, like a little, it starts to feel unsafe. So it starts this emotional dysregulation, this sympathetic response, right? So sometimes asking, like, what do I need to feel safe and calm? That's sort of that grounding, calming, so your body knows you're not deprived. The world is not ending. This is like for that Chicken Little part of our brain that's always trying to tell us, like, the sky is falling. So the emotional regulation questions are more to calm that part of our brain. So what am I trying to avoid? What do I really need? And what can I do? Like, what do I need to tell myself to feel safe and calm without food? Recommitment questions. So we can ask, like, we start to fall out of disbelief. I think these are good questions for this. So if I'm starting to just fall out of disbelief a little bit that I'm going to accomplish my goal, if I did believe I could do it, what's the next best step? Right? Corinne Crabtree, my coach, always says, can I just? Right? Can I just do one thing? What is one thing I can do? So if I did believe I could do it, if I believed, what's the next step that I could do? How would I treat myself if I was already the healthy version of me? Right? This is sort of helpful if you don't want to get out of bed and go for your walk, right? If I'm already healthy and I walk every day, would I want to not go for a walk? No, I would, of course, want to go for a walk. What's the one thing that I can do to move forward today? It doesn't matter, no matter what happened yesterday. That's the second part of this sentence that I like, or the question. What's one thing I can do to move forward today, no matter what happened yesterday? I love that, right? Start afresh, which is one thing I can do. Can I just? We can do some identity questions and ownership, like, who am I becoming? This is what we call future me work. So when we go to our future self and ask for advice, like, who's that person? What would she do? She is so nice to herself. She's like looking out for her. Future me is like, got it going on. What would she say to do right now? What would she choose? How would she manage this party, this obstacle, this food, question? How would she manage it? And then to make sure we're sort of staying in integrity and being nice to ourselves, like, what would I say to my best friend if she had this question? If she were struggling with this, what would I tell her? And then just what's a non-food treat that I can look forward to? What would make this week feel fun and doable? This is just lightening the load, right? When things feel heavy. What would make this week feel fun and doable? What sounds delicious and satisfying that is still on track for me, still on my plan, on my protocol? So I think some of these questions, if you journal about them, and I'll put all the questions in the show notes. It's going to be long show notes, but I'll put them all in there. All the ones I just read, the better questions. I like journaling on these things sometimes because these are sort of the antidote when we're feeling a little discouraged. So if I'm starting to feel like things are heavy, then I can go through and be like, oh, what would make it feel lighter? What would make it feel easier? And then I could go to my journal where I've answered that question for myself and be like, oh, if it, like, I thought it, if making it look easier, these were my ideas. The fun non-food treats, these were my ideas. My systems, what can I prep ahead of time? All these questions, right? What would it look like if it were simple and easy? That one, if you're only going to journal on one, I'm going to combine it, simple and easy, right? I want you to journal on that one. What would my path look like if it were simple and easy? What is my food prep plan if it was simple and easy? What is my meal plan for the week if it was simple and easy? All right. Better questions will give us better answers. These questions, these future-focused, solution-solving, future is really the key. Like, what will it look like? What would it look like? These are going to give us such better answers. They are going to help us be so much more successful. So if you're visually thinking all those closed answers or closed questions were like a spiral down to a closed door in a cellar, this is like opening a window and getting a fresh breeze, or opening the door and going for a walk. It's so open, and it's so just letting such good information come through you. Like, your body, like, we know what to do, right? Sometimes it's just all this garbage getting in our way. So these are really good questions to ask. What would it look like if I believed it was already working? That's the one I'm going to leave you with today. Your brain's going to answer every question you give it. So stop asking it why you're not ready, why you're broken. Okay. It's all some version of why I'm broken. Stop asking it that. You're not broken. Start asking what would make it feel simple and easy. All right. I hope this has been helpful. I will talk to y'all next week. Bye.